Hey, this is Stephanie with A Northern Gardener. Today I'm going to talk to you about leafy greens. The first thing you should know about leafy greens is that they're easy to grow. There are several common varieties, including the lettuces, butter lettuce, romaine, arugula, prize head lettuce, which is, it has a green base of the leaf and then turns purple, and as well as spinach, and then you have other things like the Asian greens like bok choy and mustard greens, etc. There are many different kinds of varieties. Lettuce also comes in two forms. You can either have loose leaf lettuce, which I'll put a picture up, but it's similar to like spinach leaves. And then you have head lettuce, which is a full solid head of lettuce. I personally have grown prize head lettuce and spinach, and in the future I'd really like to grow something with more of a crunch, like butter lettuce. Lettuce has 50 to 60 days of maturity, and it's closer to 80 plus days for head lettuce. When is a good time to plant lettuce? Greens prefer temperatures less than 80 degrees, but more than 50 degrees. You should plant leafy greens in the beginning of the season or in your fall garden to hit that temperature range. Seeds won't germinate in temperatures above 80 degrees. Plant lettuce in partial shade. Lettuce can also be easily planted by seed or by transplant, so take your pick. Although seed is cheaper and you can find a larger variety, as always with seed. It's very easy to germinate. It's almost kind of foolproof to grow by seed. Seed should be sowed about a 1/4 inch below the surface of the soil, basically meaning that plant your seeds a 1/4 inch deep into the soil. Space the seeds out about probably about an inch or so, depending on your variety of lettuce. That is, of course, if you're planning on growing head lettuce, you can always thin out later as your seeds begin to germinate and grow. Head lettuce requires more space than the leaf variety, which does not. I also highly suggest succession planting, meaning that you plant some seeds or some transplants, wait a week, plant another set of seeds in transplant. That way you just don't get a ton of lettuce all at once. Some common problems, pests or diseases with leafy greens are that if the temperatures are above 80 degrees, your lettuce or your greens are going to bolt, meaning it will go to seed, and this degrades the taste of the lettuce significantly, as well as temperatures above 80 degrees will stress out your plant, and this will cause two things to happen. Your plant will be stressed and it'll actually degrade the taste, and stressed plants attract pests because they're weaker, so you don't want either of those things. Usually there aren't any common pests to worry about with lettuce, but you could potentially get lettuce rot, cutworms, slugs, and something called a mollusk. One way to prevent bugs are with wood ashes or diatomaceous earth. And then a way to prevent fungus is you want to rotate the crops. Don't plant lettuce in the same spot in 2 consecutive years. Maybe plant some marigolds or something similar. By the way, I'll mention it later in the video, but marigolds are an excellent way to prevent many pests. How to water lettuce or leafy greens. Water deeply about once or twice a week. This promotes a deeper root system that allows for a more compact planting. If you have water at the surface the entire time, the roots might grow out horizontally along that surface. But if you water deeply, the roots will actually tend to grow down deeper into the soil. As mentioned earlier, some companion plants for lettuce are marigolds. They repel tons of different types of pests, and they add some nice colorful flowers to your garden. Chives and garlic actually are another two good companion plants for leafy greens, and those repel aphids. How to harvest lettuce or leafy greens. Cut leaf lettuce about 1 inch above the soil level. For harvesting head lettuce, cut the plant at the soil level when your head is fully formed. You can also grow head lettuce, but cut the outer leaves of it off, and so then you'll have leaf lettuce as well as head lettuce. Store your lettuce in the fridge once you get it, and also harvest frequently. This will promote more growth. It slows bolting down as well. Harvest in the closer around dawn. That way the leaves are nice and crisp. At the end of the season, let your lettuce go to bolt. And this feeds the good bugs like bees, and you can also save the seeds for next year. Some tips and tricks for lettuce are fertilize in small amounts. That means highly watered down fertilizer, and fertilize frequently with higher nitrogen products. This helps stimulate the growth of leaves quicker. So just so we're clear, use a watered down fertilizer that is higher in nitrogen, and do this frequently, about every 2 to 3 weeks. Another tip there are some varieties that are more heat resistant than others if you're in a hotter climate or want to extend your growing season into the summer. Some precautions or lessons learned from growing lettuce myself. My prize head lettuce was thickly planted in a pot for a cut and come again method according to the MI Gardener, and it never seemed to get crispy. It just seemed very soggy, and I actually never ended up using it. I think if I had maybe planted less seeds in there, perhaps they would have crisped up a bit more, and maybe I didn't water deeply enough. So maybe I'll try it again and try to water deeply. Another tip is to make sure to succession plant. I mentioned that earlier, but you don't want to end up with too much lettuce at one time. Most of this information came from Self-Sufficient Me. I highly suggest checking out his leafy green videos. Thank you.